Have you heard of cycle syncing? This is, in my opinion, something that should be taught to girls, women, wherever they are in their cycle. And before you switch off thinking, I don't have a cycle, you can use this information using the phases of the moon. And I would say using this information has been more important in my perimenopausal journey than at any other time. So if you find that your energy and your mood change from week to week, if you find that one week you can go to the gym and the next week you can barely get out of bed, and perhaps it's the same with food. One week you're the queen of clean eating and the next week it's pizza, chocolate and all of the above, then this video is for you. And you'll be pleased to know that it's nothing to do with you. You are the perfect woman and this is everything to do with the energy of your menstrual cycle. So what I mean by that is the menstrual cycle is divided up into 4 stages, and each of those stages have their own unique energy that goes along with it. And when we understand this energy, then we can structure our life, our exercise, the way that we eat, so it matches the energy of where we are at in our cycle, and that will help us to improve mood, improve energy, and overall well-being. Stage 1 is the menstrual phase, and if you're following the moon, it is the time of the new moon, and the theme here is winter. So the winter phase starts on day 1 of your period and usually lasts between 3 and 7 days. So if we think about winter, it's all about quiet time. It's about hankering down, hibernating, being more restful, less social, and that's the theme of this time of your menstrual cycle. So we want to be engaging in a lot more rest, a lot more relaxation, and actually your intuition, your gut feelings, they're really heightened at this time. So activities like journaling, meditation, visualization, they can be really, really powerful tools to engage with. So at this time, we want to slow down, not take on any big commitments, and listen to that voice that's telling us to say no. And instead doing restful or mindful activities like journaling, meditation, napping, even just watching your favorite Netflix show and snuggling up on the sofa with a blanket. In terms of exercise, because we have that quiet energy, we want to be doing things like yoga and stretching and walking, nothing with high intensity. In terms of foods, we want to stay away from inflammatory foods, particularly if you struggle with period pain, and instead we want to be eating lighter and more water-rich foods. And if you are still having a period, then you want to be eating iron-rich foods along with vitamin C-rich foods. The vitamin C helps with the iron absorption. So with your foods, think about nourishment. We want to be nourishing the body at this time. Next up, we have the follicular phase, or the time of the waxing moon, which is our spring. And our spring lasts from the end of the period up to ovulation, around 7 to 10 days. And in this time, estrogen and testosterone are rising, as too are serotonin and dopamine. So our energy begins to rise. And if we think about spring in nature, it's a time of new beginnings, fresh start, renewal, creativity, and that's the theme of this particular time of our cycle. So with those themes and the increase in energy, we see an increase in overall well-being, we see an increase in cognitive ability. It's a perfect time to start new projects, new creative projects particularly, and to brainstorm new ideas. It's also the time when you will be more prone to taking risks and you'll be more extroverted. So if you've got a fear that you want to conquer, this is the time of month that it would be perfect to challenge yourself. With this increase in energy, we can now start increasing the intensity of our exercise. So we can increase both intensity and frequency. So we could do more HIIT, strength training, boxing, whatever it is that you like to do, this is the time of month that you can start going for it. We want lots of healthy fats for hormone production and phytoestrogens for estrogen production, so maca, flaxseed, pomegranate, and lots of cruciferous vegetables, because we do produce excess estrogen at this time, so we need to allow the gut and the liver and the bowels to do its job of dealing with that excess estrogen. Stage 3 is the ovulation phase. It's the time of the full moon and of our summer. Estrogen, testosterone, serotonin, dopamine, they're all at their highest at this time, and it's the time of the month that we usually feel our best. You know, in basic terms, we're fertile, we're looking for a partner. So we will look and feel our best, we'll have heightened heightened cognition, we will have heightened sense of smell and vision. Verbal skills will be great, we'll be mentally sharp and focused. So if you have a job interview, some presentation where you need to impress, even a hot date, this is the time you want to schedule those kind of events for. Because of this increased energy, we can continue with exercising like we were in the previous phase, so high intensity and more frequency. Interestingly, if you're going for a PB or a PR, as my children call it, it is the time of month that you are most likely to achieve it. But because of those high levels of estrogen, you're also more likely to be injured, so you just do need to be careful. We can continue with the foods from the follicular phase, so lots of healthy fats, lots of cruciferous vegetables and fruit as well, and protein, and lots of water, because we're very, very productive at this time. We're burning through a lot of energy, so making sure we're keeping ourselves well hydrated. And the final phase is our luteal phase, which is the time of the waning moon and the time of our autumn season. This season usually lasts around 10 to 16 days from the end of ovulation to the day before your period, and it can start with that high energy, but that energy will fade away as we move through this phase. And so with that, we need to be winding down our energy output, and it's where a lot of women struggle, because they try to push through, they try to maintain that intensity all the month through, and that's not what we want to be doing in this phase. So instead, in terms of productivity, nesting, home-based chores, ticking things off your to-do list, admin jobs, they're the types of things that really suit this phase. We also want to be increasing our self-care and our quiet time. And it's the time of the month when we really only want to say yes to those social engagements that we really want to do. Don't say yes to anything that you feel obligated to do, because the energy is just not right for that. In perimenopause, when we have less progesterone, it's the first hormone to fall. It completely tanks. So we really want to be honoring this phase. When we keep pushing and pushing, this is when we have troubles, because we have increased stress levels, and that in turn creates perimenopausal symptoms and mood issues and anxiety and sleep issues. So really important to honor this phase in perimenopause. As your energy becomes softer, you do want to start decreasing the amount of intensity you're putting into your exercise. So you can still do weights, but you might choose to do lighter weights, and you might swap HIIT training for more gentle cardio. And I would recommend increasing the more restorative type exercises like yoga and walking during this phase. Often in this phase, women will crave carbohydrates and sugar, but estrogen is low during this time, and so we're not so receptive to the message of insulin, and if we eat those foods, we will end up on the blood sugar roller coaster. It'll create more cravings. So instead, we have to counter it by eating more fibrous vegetables, more protein, and more healthy fats to try to keep that blood sugar stable. We can also include zinc-rich foods like grass-fed beef, legumes, shellfish, and pumpkin seeds to help with progesterone production. And we want to ensure that we're drinking enough water. And you can use herbs like parsley or add cucumber to your water if you are struggling with water retention in this phase. So there we have it, the energy of your cycle. And as I said, I found this more important in the perimenopausal years than at any other time. And so the way I use this information is when I have to do anything that requires a lot of energy or creativity, like producing YouTube videos or reels or anything like that, then I will try and schedule that for the first half of my cycle. When I'm in my second half of my cycle, I will be doing research and reading and more admin type jobs. With exercise, I will do more HIIT training in the first half of the month than I do in the second half of the month. And in that second half of the month, I'm just super conscious of trying to keep my blood sugar balanced. You know, admittedly, I'm human and it doesn't always work, but just having an awareness of why you're craving can help to keep you on track. So I really encourage you to take this information and to play around with it and see if you can make elements of it fit into your life. But what I would say is in perimenopause, because we have that loss of progesterone and fluctuating estrogen, I would use the information here in this video together with these two videos. We want to be looking at the estrogen dominant video in the follicular phase and the low progesterone in that luteal phase, in the autumn phase, and Combine what I'm saying in those videos with the activities and themes that we've talked about in this video, and that together will vastly improve your mood and your energy and your overall well-being for the entire month.